Welcome to Ask Sarah with Sarah Wiseman, where you'll learn to awaken your divine intuition and open your human heart. Sit back, relax, and get ready to laugh and learn. Here's Sarah.
That is me, your host, and we are here as we're rounding the corner in October 2021. I keep finding myself wanting to say 2022 already, and of course, we're not there yet. We're just wanting to be there already. And today we're talking about, on the show, we're talking about this idea of how does the universe reach us, and learn why the universe is communicating with us every moment of every day, and how to listen and interpret. We'll begin to talk about that more as we move along in the show. And today is also Free Readings Tuesday, which means you can call in to 844-390-8255, 844-390-8255, and looks like we've got some callers coming in, and there's still space to call. So if you want to chat with me and talk about whatever's going on in your life, I'm happy to help you out. I want to read you the channeling that came from, for those of you who get the Daily Divine message, which is free. That's what this talks about, this idea of how does the universe reach us. And these messages were channeled, and they talk a little bit about different aspects of spiritual intuition. And to get that, just go to sarahwiseman.com and look for, I think it's called Free Gifts, and you can get signed up to get these messages direct to your inbox. We used to think we had to go to church or a temple or a retreat in order for the universe to find us, that we had to enter a sacred space or a holy place in order to make connection. Now we understand that the universe can reach us anytime we choose to connect. All we have to do is ask. The best way and the easiest way to help the universe reach you is to fill your life with loads of stillness, to create a schedule that is spacious, and to do what makes us feel happy. And so this is a lot to ask in modern culture, isn't it? To fill our lives with stillness, to create a life that is spacious, that is not too busy, and to do what makes us feel happy. Of course, this brings up the classic idea of, spiritual intuition, law of attraction, law of flow. What we focus on expands. So when we do what makes us feel happy, then more things arrive that bring this feeling to us. This idea of letting the universe connect to us without any interference. So it's just you and the universe. There is no middleman or organization or belief system in the way of this direct connection that you have with everything. And this is a change in our evolution. This is a change where we've gone from kind of religion running the spiritual show, not just one particular religion, but basically all religions, saying that, yeah, you can have spiritual connection, you can have this nectar of the divine, but you have to go through these toll gates of this system, this belief system. You're going to have a bunch of people priests or rabbis or gurus or teachers. And, you're not good enough. The old system says you're not good enough to get it yourself. You got to go through these other people who are wiser and more knowledgeable than you are and have a better connection. They've got the hotline to God. And then on your way, as you're trying to receive this nectar of the divine, on your way, with all these other people getting in your way and telling you what to believe and how it works and how to do it, we'd also like you to pay some tolls on the way, support this giant organization, these giant organizations. So all of that is really of the past. Where we are now is people reaching to their own connection with the universe. And this is showing up a lot of different ways. A lot of different belief systems that are basically about oneness, that don't have any rules to follow, that are these loosely aligned groups of people who are trying something out. And there's also a lot more openness to the idea of not just God the Father, say, or these particular gods, but the idea is everywhere. So you can find the universe in the trees, or you can find the universe in the wind, or you can find your connection while dreaming. You can find your connection while doing the dishes. This idea that God, the universe, the divine, it's always in the room, always everywhere. We're not separate from. We don't need helpers, because this is what we are at our essence, or as our nature. I'm always struck by how the universe comes to us in such surprising ways. And a lot of you guys have, you see numbers, or you have dreams, or you do these practices that I teach that show you how to go into your mind's eye and receive visions. And yet, a lot of the times the universe is very funny in answering particular questions that we have. The other day I was riding my bike, and I always use my bike as a system of trance. Whenever you're riding your bike, you're walking, you're driving, you're on a bus, you've got all this stuff on a train, you've got all this stuff coming in your eyes, and you sort of go into a trance, a gentle trance, a moving meditation. And so I'm on my bike, and I use that time to kind of clear myself. I'm in nature. I let my mind clear. Then I usually put a couple specific queries in for the universe. Like, as I head out into this trance that is my bike ride, I'm going to ask a couple questions, and I appreciate, universe, if you'll send me these answers through whatever I notice, whatever the sky looks like, whatever the trees are like, or whatever passerby I come by, or something else. And so yesterday I had a question in my mind, and as usually for me, getting to the end of the bike ride and nothing had happened yet, I'm like, okay, returning to the question, anything there, any guidance today? And suddenly from the path, a squirrel jumped out, ran right under my wheels to the other side, and sort of like grabbed onto my foot. Not my foot, my shoe. I was fine. There was no scratching. There was no biting. He sort of went under the wheels and came up on the other side of the shoe on the pedal. And at that moment, I received my answer. And then he jumped off and actually quickly went under the bike the other way. It was such a sudden surprise. It was so direct. It answered my question completely. And this is how it is. I mean, having a squirrel jump on your shoe is a bit extreme, perhaps. But the universe is tricky that way. And you guys have all had things unexplainable. How did that happen? How did that even happen? And yet it did, and there is your answer. So we're going to be talking more about this today. This idea that everything is guidance. It's always coming in. You can't stop it from coming in. And then this idea of how do you acknowledge, or how do you ask for that, and then how do you interpret it? This is the practice of spiritual intuition, and you don't need a middleman. This is between you and the universe, receiving, becoming one with everything and receiving all the answers you need. All right, let us go to our phones now. Looks like we've got a caller. Looks like we've got Sandra on hold. Sandra, welcome to the show. Sandra, are you there? I can't hear Sandra.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Great.
Can you
Excellent.
hear me now?
Yes, perfect. What is going
Hello?
on in, yeah, I can hear you. Uh, what's
Yay.
going, yeah, what's going on in your life, or
That's
what can I
good.
help you with?
Well, I first found your work 2 years ago. I was in a personal crisis, and I'm still struggling with if I came into this lifetime and set this up as a learning experience, what is this lesson? I'm stuck.
Hmm. I don't think you're stuck. Does the lesson seem like sometimes we get lessons that are so undesired and so sort of feels undeserved. We do not deserve this lesson. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah, is that kind of where you're at? Like, why do I get this lesson? What do I have to do? Why do I have to participate in this lesson? Is that kind of where you're feeling?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, I'm not asking so much why me, but the circumstances have to do with my kids. They're age 11 and 15. And 2 years ago, my ex partner just pulled them out of my life. They're gone. She's getting remarried. She wanted to raise the kids with her new wife. I have no legal right because we were never allowed to get married when we were together. So I have no legal standing at all to have my kids back, although I've had them in my life every day until 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this perspective, trying to look at this from, okay, if I call this into my life to learn, what is it I'm learning? Is it to trust in love? Is it to overcome feeling undeserving? I just can't quite put my finger on it. And maybe it's all of that. I mean, I'm open to any kind of clarity I can get with it.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely one of those situations that kind of brings you to your knees in terms
Oh,
of,
God, yes.
yeah. Are the children, do they have your biology
No, one was adopted and the other, we did IVF with her,
with your ex-wife? Okay.
my ex. Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then what have you done with attorneys? What state do you live in? I guess I don't even know. It doesn't matter even where you live because I don't have enough knowledge to understand what the rules would be. But have you worked with attorneys?
Yes, lots of attorneys. And it keeps going back to the same thing, which is I don't have legal rights because we were not married. If we were married at that time, then I would have co-parenting rights, but marriage wasn't an option back in 2014.
Yeah.
So I'm in that part of history where, I had no legal rights. So nothing stands up now.
Yeah. Well, Sandra, I'm so sorry about this. I actually know two women that this same exact situation has happened to. And it is this, it's the same situation where there wasn't the biological connection, and the same situation where two women couldn't get married at the time when the children arrived. I don't know. I'm just trying to, there doesn't seem to be a great solution now. However, once the children become 18, they are free to seek you out again. So I would not give up hope of having relationship, but it's going to be a wait. And what? Just give me a second here. I think this idea of you being a pioneer, which doesn't feel that great, but just as, say, women's rights had to come, or rights for people of different, ethnicities, uh, you're on that cutting edge of the people who went first. And I
Yeah.
think that there's like a tiny bit of solace, like, well, at least I've helped pave the way in future a little
Uh-huh.
bit, for others. Um,
Uh-huh.
y- I would imagine at the time that all this happened, that these kids came in, you didn't even think there would be a risk. You didn't even consider it because, again, you were such a pioneer. Those questions didn't even come up. Does that sound correct to you?
Yeah, what we did is, we saw an attorney. We drew up, co-parenting agreements. We did everything as far as we could. Um, so we took it, we looked at every option. This was a decision that was made, not just from our hearts, but from our heads. And we tried to be smart, knowing that our rights were restricted and didn't exist in most of the cases. We wrote everything up so that we'd have that to fall back on. But
And now it's being,
we didn't.
yeah, and now it's all being thrown out and said, oh, that doesn't matter.
It's out there
Well,
now.
so
Yeah.
so I would like to suggest three things.
Okay.
One, don't give up on relationship with those children later. They are going to return to you, and you will have time later to reconnect and revisit and kind of regroup. So hold that. The relationships aren't over. They would like to be with you as much as you would like to be with them. So that won't be stopped later. So that's one. Two, I think I'd go outside of your state or the attorneys you've worked for and work for people that specialize in this at a higher level. I don't have any recommendations, but there are going to be groups that, I mean, if I know two people that this has also happened to, and now I know I've heard your situation, that means that this is out there. So continue to look for that person that has a better solution. And then three, I'd love for you to try this soul to soul work with your ex so that you can
Okay.
begin to, so basically you go into meditation, you bring in your guides, you call up
Uh-huh.
the soul of the other, your ex, you bring her in,
Uh-huh.
there's you, there's
Okay.
her, and you say your truth to her, and you
Okay.
tell her that you would like her to soften this position, and you tell her that you just tell her all your truth, all your pain, all the reasons that it's better to have things more open. And you just begin to do this, and you begin to do this like every day for a while, and just
Okay.
working outside of all the personalities involved, your personality, your ex's, and working in this
Uh-huh.
soul level. I have seen things break open and heal using that technique,
Okay.
that when you wouldn't have believed that it could even help. And then
Mm.
my final question to you is, how are you doing with this trauma and your own taking care of yourself and your own, um, like, do you still believe in the universe, or do you feel abandoned? Where are you at in
No.
terms of that?
Okay. No, I don't feel abandoned. I think, I've gotten, it's really helped for me to develop a more consistent meditation practice. So I don't feel abandoned. I just want to know, like, what am I supposed to be learning here? Because this is tragic.
Yeah.
And I'm accepting it as a lesson or something for me to just learn to understand. I mean, this has happened, and I'm trying to live my best life possible. So when that reunion comes, I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm centered, and I'm ready to deal with whatever issues they will have for me. So
Yeah.
that's been my goal, just focus on that goal. Um,
Well, I think you could
yeah, I
also
mean,
be, yeah. So in my own life, and I've talked about this a tiny bit on the show, but I've had a similar situation in my own family that brought me to my knees this year. And at first I was, so hurt and so devastated. And then and even for me, like my business is working with the universe. That's what my job is. It's like really like how can this be? And I wandered around, and I'm still kind of wandering around in this like place of I don't know, or I don't understand, or this kind of walking through dark night of the soul. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where you are too. And so I'm guessing you've probably been in dark night of the soul in earlier parts of your life. And once you've been through, yeah, exactly. So once you've been through a couple dark nights of the soul, you realize like, yeah, I'm lost. I'm in this boat in the fog, and I'm just going to wait until things clear. But this time, even though I don't understand why things happen as they do, I'm not chucking my faith in the universe. I'm just trusting I'll get it. I will understand it maybe in a year or maybe in a couple years. And that feeling that you have now of what the heck? How could this even be? And then like it's okay to not you don't need to know the lesson now. You can know the lesson in a couple of years. You'll look back and be able to figure it out. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Like right
I
now
haven't even thought about that.
you're still in the mist, and I am too. So we'll just be in the mist together and wave at each other through the fog, like, and not just us. I mean, so many people listening are just kind of lost right now. So, well,
Sure.
Sandra, if you email me after the show, just go to sarahwiseman.com, and I will gift you this course on the relationship healing. So just go ahead and find me at the website, and then you can just remind me. Okay, so thank you so much for calling, and I wish you the best.
Do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your help.
Yeah,
Bye.
absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, that's a really difficult situation that Sandra's been in, and I've heard of that, this catching up. That's what we're doing as society right now, is catching up to all the mistakes we've made from having these incredibly limited systems that were based on, say, the patriarchy, or only one kind of person could be in control, or only certain groups could be in charge. And so, like in Sandra's position, her children didn't have rights because she couldn't get married to the person that's now her ex-wife. And so this is being corrected slowly over time. This is part of this age of Aquarius we're in, that brings equality and oneness into our predominant systems. This is why all the systems are going down the old way. But for those caught in this, being pioneers, there are gaps. And hopefully over time we'll be able to fix these things. It is Free Readings Tuesday. I would love for you to call in 844-390-8255. 844-390-8255. And it looks like we have Karen on hold. Karen, welcome to the program.
Yes.
Hi.
Thank you. I was thinking it canceled. I've been trying to get on Facebook, and it's not letting me see a live program. So I called in thinking I could get some info, but I guess I got you live.
Yeah. Well, it is playing on Facebook. I don't know. How to how to guide you from here.
That's okay.
But what
it must
do you
be
have?
my glitch on this side.
Yeah. What do you have a question, or what would you like to?
Well, I'm just really interested in the whole idea of, what you were going to be talking about. How does the universe reach us? And I wanted to see if I could get a free reading.
Yes. Well, let's talk a little bit about this idea of how the universe reaches us. And I'm curious for you, When you're trying to get guidance, what are your go-to techniques that work really well for you at this point?
I think my best technique is to be in a quiet place, first of all, with not a lot of distractions, not like in my bedroom or somewhere where it's quiet or away from the rest of the house. And um, I just I just feel things like I just kind of talk to the universe and say, you know, what do you have? What kind of messages do you have for me? And then I just quiet, wait, and sometimes I'll hear messages and like feel like I have the chills, like
Mm-hmm.
pricklies all over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like that's like a message for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just pay attention to whatever the message was. Like, you need to be more patient, or you need to look at this, or I don't know, I can't even think of an example. Just, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, being in a quiet place and paying attention to what I'm kind of feeling, more than, I don't hear a voice, I just hear like in my head something, and then I get like kind of a prickly feeling that makes me feel like, pay attention.
Yeah, like it's happening, or this is sometimes that chill, it's like people call it like the truth chill. Like this is a truth you are receiving. Um,
Yes.
do you feel, when you say you feel, do you feel specifically in a part of your body? Like some people will feel like, oh, I feel something in my throat, and that is advising me to this. Or some people just feel it all everywhere. Does it come to you any particular way?
Okay. Okay. I'm on the phone. Thank you. I feel it in a particular place, yes, and with that boot, mostly my upper, not so much my legs or feet or anything in my lower body, but like from my chest area up to like my throat, I guess, and my
Mm-hmm.
arms, like a kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a heated, and
Yep.
in my back too, I guess, because it's like a heated, kind of a prickly, warm,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like it just envelops me. It just makes me feel like
And
warm.
do you ever have the urge to, like, do your hands get hot and you feel like I want to put my
My
hands on something?
Yes, my hands
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
get hot. Always
Well,
have.
so okay, so I'm just going to give you this. I don't have anything particular for you as a reading, but this piece I think will be kind of interesting to you. Um, I think that you have untapped abilities in your hands, as hands healing or Reiki or some of these other systems, and those would be very useful to explore for you um, as a practice. And the other thing is, I would maybe invite you to go into that lower body. It's almost like you're quite separate, like from the waist up
It is.
you're there, and
It
from
is.
the lower body it's like, so that there is a lot of exploration there, and I would invite you to just explore that and see it feels like there's a lot of um, blockage or almost like some numbness there, and when you start to open that up, a lot of things will be revealed to you about your own self and kind of things that you can work on. So that's what I've got
So
for
is
you
that
today.
meaning that in my quiet time, I'm basically saying in my quiet moment to help me to like release the lower body so that I can be more in tune with my lower body?
I
Is
don't
that
think you need
what
to
you mean?
release your body. It's like I would go into your knee and say, what information do you have for me? Or go into your pelvis and say, what's here? And just kind of
Okay.
listen to what below the waist tells you, because those are, it could be first, second, and third chakra that are sort of not there's not a lot of awareness there, or maybe um, kind of on purpose blocking those, because maybe there's some stuff that you're going to look at there that you for God or is traumatic. So just start doing that and see what happens. Anyway, Karen, thank you
Okay.
so much. Yeah, I'm going to let you go, but thanks for calling into the show. I appreciate
Thank you.
your
Thank you,
feedback.
Sarah. I
Yeah.
appreciate I appreciate your time and your information. God bless.
Thank you. Yeah, so Karen gave us some beautiful teaching on how we feel. We go into a quiet space, we feel in our body. We might have different parts of our body that we become aware of that maybe possibly relate to a chakra or relate to some kind of a past wound or trauma that needs to be looked at and emerged. And so this is all the ways of sort of the empathic feeling in the body. And she also mentioned this idea of kind of hearing. And so those are wonderful. So we've got clairsentience where we feel it. We've got claircognizance where we know it. We've got clairaudience where we hear it. And then the piece that I do a lot of teaching in is the clairvoyance, where we're seeing in our third eye. And then there's the other piece. So all of those are about entering in to discover what's within. And then the piece that we also want to add, so we've got entering in, and we've also got expanding out, where we go out into the world and we're receiving this input that comes in. So we're receiving the synchronicities, we're receiving the events, we're receiving the conversation we overheard, we're receiving a dream, which is a kind of entering into, but I'm going to put it in the entering out category because we're not consciously entering in to go get it. And so this entering in to get all the clairs, this entering out to get all the synchronicities and the direct response from the universe. Even a weather system can be a message. So this idea that you can read anything, universe is always there, whether you go within or you expand without, or you do all of it all at the same time. Let's go with, looks like we have Deborah on hold. Deborah, welcome to the program.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
It's good to hear from you.
Yeah.
Hey, I actually had called in about a month ago, I guess, and I'm just kind of wondering, you guys were talking about chakra blockages, and as much as I try to meditate and, get into the flow of everything that is good for us, I always feel like I still have some kind of chakra blockage. So that would be my first question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My other question actually is,
Go ahead.
we're kind of looking at, we may have to move within the next while. And I'm just wondering, do you see anything in that for me? We may need to move into a bigger center than the little town that we live in now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just wondering if you see anything about a timeline when that may have to happen. I'm kind of hoping it's not winter, but.
Yeah. And have we talked before, or is it just where maybe your voice, where you're from, the inflections are kind of reminding me? Do you think we've talked before?
We have talked once before, yes.
Okay.
My husband has kidney failure.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you remember.
Okay. It feels to me so the chakras are not kind of where I focus, but when you ask that directly, I'm going to give you two things. I feel like second chakra for you is pretty sensitive. When I feel, so I'm getting a lot of images of like the second chakra as being kind of soggy or wet, and second chakra is all about sexuality, it's all about creativity, and so that feels like soggy when I look at your body. It doesn't mean your body's soggy, doesn't mean there's moisture buildup. I'm just saying the feeling is this kind of soggy soddenness. And then as I receive a guiding vision for you, the guiding vision I'm getting is like somebody in this little rowboat, and the rowboat's very, very near the shore. So you can easily get out and go to the shore. You could just jump out and wade to the shore. You'd be in like hip length water, but it wouldn't be a problem. But the rowboat has a leak in it. And so you're trying to row, and then the rowboat is sort of leaking down at the same time. So there's two parts to this. One is the rowboat doesn't work. Two is you're not in any danger. It's just this impression of danger because the rowboat's sinking. You can just get out and go elsewhere. It's interesting that you're talking about moving, because that came up even as I was taking notes of about you at the very, very beginning. This idea of a move would be a really good thing. It would, I think this may be you getting out of the sinking rowboat and going to safer shores. Where are you thinking of moving to right now? Do you have any choices? Is it just going smaller?
No, actually, what it would be is going bigger. We just have to be closer to a center where the hospitals can
To
look
services.
after kidney failure patients.
Yeah. Is it going from a bigger home to a smaller home, or is that what you're thinking?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I would be fine with a smaller home. We have a large home compared to what we really need.
Yeah. I think both of those ideas, going to a smaller home, and I think this rowboat is sinking rowboat where it is now, get out and go to safer grounds. That's the new place that with more services, much better choice. I would suggest doing that as soon as possible, actually. I mean, not like today, but I wouldn't put off. There's such relief when you make this move. I wouldn't put off making it because it's a hassle to do it in the winter. I would just be like, yeah, we need to do this now. And so
Right.
much more support is there instead of you rowing with the boat sinking. And then
Right.
in terms of your second chakra, I would just meditate on that, and instead of trying to fix it, just ask it to tell you what it wants you to know. Whenever I see a lot of water, that's like a lot of emotion or grief or expression, just ask it, what would you like me to know? And you'll start to get some feelings or have some memories, and that'll start to come back and be useful in healing. So
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah. No, that's good advice.
Yeah. Well, Deborah, I wish you guys both the best, and better times are ahead. There's a lot of relief quite soon, so don't hesitate to grab that for you guys. Don't wait.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for calling. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Change is so hard. We tend to, at least I tend to just stick things out so long. Rowing the sinking boat, right? Just like climb to shore, be easy on yourself. And this is not just for Deborah, this is for all of us. Like go with what's easy, go with what's effortless, go with what feels good, what makes sense. This is where this flow is for people. We're not here to struggle, even when situations are so rough. We're not here to suffer. We're here to transcend suffering. Let us see. We've got free readings Tuesday. You can call in to 844-390-8255. 844-390-8255. And I wanted to read a little bit from Messages from the Divine. You can read anything. And here's just some directly what we were talking about. When you start to understand how the universe speaks to you in visions and messages, events and emotions, nature, music, sex, peak experiences, and stillness, you begin to realize something awesome. The more present you are, the more universal guidance you receive. The more present you are, the more clarity you have. The more present you are, the more you experience direct knowing. And direct knowing, just to explain this piece, direct knowing is when you just know instantaneously. You're always in this flow state. You just know. And as you're in this state of presence, that becomes your experience more and more. There isn't any more confusion. You're always just in this state of you just know. You have direct knowing. The more you pay attention to what's really going on, not what society tells you, social media talking to you, or your family, or your culture, or the misbeliefs you were raised with, the more you relax, breathe, and are simply more aware of the actual events and feelings and experiences in your life. The more you pay attention to the exquisite reality of your life, the more present you become. And when you become truly present, you can read anything. You can gather psychic information from anything. This ability to become so present, so attuned to what is happening right in front of you, allows you to use this understanding to feel, see, predict, or forecast what is being created in universal flow. In other words, by being exquisitely attuned to both your physical and emotional reality, you can understand where you are being guided by the universe. And here are just a couple examples. By looking at a teacup, you might receive a vision of your next step. By walking in the woods, you might receive a message of your next step. By observing an animal, you might understand a difficult situation. By listening to a piece of music, you might understand how you feel about something. I'm interested that this talks about by observing an animal, and I'm just going back and remembering the squirrel that attacked my shoe and just kind of thinking about going deeper into that interpretation. So let's go to the phones. We've got Susie on the phone. Susie, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Hi, what can I help you out with today?
I'm wondering, recently I was asked, hey, what are you surprised about at this stage of your life? This is my last trimester. And my immediate response was, well, I'm surprised I'm not in an intimate relationship. And I didn't even know I was surprised by that. So I've always had this soul longing for an intimate, forever relationship. And at the same time, the word freedom kind of keeps showing up. So since that question was asked, I'm all of a sudden paying attention and realizing maybe I don't even invite it in, and wondering what you see there.
It's funny. So as you're talking, I always have my little notebook and I make little notes and I circle things that as they come in, like my hand just does this circling or underlining. It's part of my little process. And you said, I'm not in an intimate relationship. And the guides immediately were like, oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. And you're in an intimate relationship, highly deep, highly involved relationship with yourself right now. And this, like they're sort of saying, like, don't discount this gift. A lot of people don't even get this time with themselves ever. What do you think about that idea that it's a gift to have, what you called it freedom, but it's a gift to have this self-exploration without the distraction or the demand of another person?
Well, that resonates so much. That, thank you. Yes. um, totally hear that. That is an intimate relationship. Like, open that door. Thank you.
How much of your life in the first, I love that the trimesters that you used, in the first 2 trimesters, how much of your life was, in relationship, caretaking? Like, what's been that part of your journey?
And that's probably my primary role, whether it was in a career or with my family or with foster kids, it's been caretaking. So this is new. There's sort of that, it feels a little empty, but there's also some comfort in it. Maybe that's that freedom part. So
And
I think you just said to me what I didn't realize.
Well, the other piece is, it would be really interesting. So dominant culture says we have to be in a relationship, or it's better to be in a relationship. And yet, as we get older, like 50 and beyond, the call to be in a relationship, it kind of loses its appeal. Like, if you're going to be in an unhappy marriage, why? If you're going to be in a partnership that's people, not getting along or wanting different things, why at that point? There's a lot of people who navigate being single as a choice incredibly well, and I'm curious if maybe you know some of them, or you could look for some, I like to use that word, template. You could look for some people that are choosing to not be in relationship and how they live, and looking for people that are not doing the dominant culture says be in relationship and then get old and be lonely. And that's just like one very, very small, not very pleasant choice. There's lots of people that are conscious that are doing something really different. And I'm wondering if you know any of them, or you know where to find them.
No, I haven't been looking, and now I will look.
Yeah.
I think your response to the previous caller hit on that a little bit too, that there's so many options and we have to create those new options.
Yeah. And kind of let go of the big story from the culture, and also the smaller stories that we've got going on about how it has to be. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny because sometimes when we say, yeah, no relationship for me, thank you, and then people flock just because they're so attracted by that person that's living so fully. So those are choices you can make as that happens. You may decide to run relationships completely differently than you did in the past. There's no reason you can't have freedom and, meet some amazing people. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. I thank you for that invitation. I love that. I'm going to go pursue that.
Well, thanks so much for calling into the show. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, I like this idea of, for all of you out there who've been, not everybody has done this, but a lot of people have been in caretaking for a really long time. And when do we get this? There's the term self-care, and self-care is supposed to be like taking a bath. Like, is that enough time to really explore who you are in the 15 minutes or the half hour that you get to be in a bathtub? Or maybe you go to a retreat, for the weekend or for a week, and you get this precious time by yourself. Like, how can that be enough to know who you are? This sort of cobbling together these little pieces of time. If you are lucky enough to be in a space where you don't have the responsibility of caretaking at the moment, take advantage of this beautiful time. It's you and the divine. You're your own partner. The divine's your partner. just explore all the things that you haven't had time to get to know about yourself during this gift of self-immersion. Alrighty, we are going to wrap up the show. So I want to invite you guys. So a couple things going on. Signups are open for Winter Spiritual Psychic Intuition University, the training that I do directly. So go to the website, go to training, so sarahwiseman.com, then go to training, and you can sign up there. We do fill really, really fast. So I think we're not half full, but we're filling pretty fast already. So go there and sign up. And then we are going to be working on a couple different self-study courses. We've got Entering Stillness, a Winter's Retreat coming up, and we've got the Moonstrology for 2022, which is all new dates and information for you there as self-study courses. And you can find those at sarahwiseman.com on the courses page. Everybody, thanks so much for listening, and I look forward to being with you next time.